Hello, this is Lolly. Today I'm making this really fun shaker card here, and I'm using the Happy Hibiscus Stamp Club set by Tonic Studios. It's a stamp and die set, and I have pre-stamped these out. And I wanted to show you that although it's a really busy stamp, you don't have to do the detailed coloring. So what I did, let me show you one here. I'll show you how detailed that stamp is. This is on mixed media paper. But what I did for this, I embossed it in white embossing powder. And I just lightly washed watercolor on it without worrying about staying in the lines. I was just giving, oh, there's a flower over here, and I just generally kind of washed some watercolor over that. And then this is a different one though, and you can see the difference in the vibrance because this is black stamped. And I did this on the smooth cardstock that you can use for Copic coloring, and then I use my Copic markers. So what we want to do, I'm going to die cut. The die cuts that come in the set include these two here. So one of them will die cut this piece out as a frame beautifully, edged up against that, which is what I did here. And what you have left is kind of raggedy for the middle, so you use this piece to die cut the centerpiece out pretty. It makes them both really nice. But before I do that, since I am going to have to attach this to acetate, I want to put some double-sided sticky on the back. So I'll use the double-sided score tape. And it is long enough, and I don't need this much, so I'm just going to cut off some. Turn that over. And I can see, from where I colored, I can see where to put this, generally speaking. And I want to give this a good burnish. Okay, and now I can use a paper trimmer or my scissors to just cut right around my stamped image here. Okay, then I want to run this through the die cutting machine. So you have to remember that the cutting edge, it's almost to the edge of this, but not quite. So when you line this up, you're actually covering up your drawing lines, your stamped lines, just a pinch. And if you're going to use any tape, even purple tape, you might want to stick it to your clothes a few times so that when you put it down, it doesn't pull up your image. This cardstock works better with purple tape, but I found that the watercolor paper is softer. And so I find it's a lot easier for the purple tape to pull that up. So next thing I want to do is grab myself some acetate. See, now I have one giant sticker. There, such an easy way to affix the entire thing to acetate. And now you can see how this is really pretty, but it's got this jaggedy edge that doesn't match the stamped image. So that's when we need to take this die and cut it out again going around here, and that will give this interior stamp design a beautiful finish. And what I did on this one, I just put that one on the inside here. It could be used for a separate card. So now we need to trim this off, and beautiful. Perfect window for our shaker. The next thing I want to do is put some foam tape all the way around this edge here, making sure there are no big cracks in it, and then I'm going to be able to make a shaker out of this. Okay, so I have foam tape all around the edge there, and I have cut a piece of cardstock that is 6 1/4 wide by 9 1/2 long. I turned it and I scored it at 4 3/4, and then I did this barely under 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, and I did it with the Deckle edge trimmer, so it's got a nice Deckle edge on that. I'm going to attach this to the front of my card base. Okay, this is just scrap paper that I had lying around, so next, this is going to go on there, but first I want to make sure that I have this centered underneath. This is in the set, in the die set. There's a For You and there's a Happy Birthday, which I used right here. So it's 2 dies that has the lettering and also the shadowing around that, which is helpful if you're doing like I am and using a busy background. That white shadow helps it to pop up a little bit. So I'm going to look and see where I want this. Now I'm going to open this because you can see it wants to pop up like this. I'm going to open this and lay it down, and I have collected some sequins that I think sort of match my color scheme. And then I have a few little of these colored stars here. I figured I would give it kind of a birthday look here. Very bright, very colorful. Spread them out a little bit, but I want to keep them away from the edge where my foam is going to go. And I'm going to pull these off. Now this foam tape was actually wider, and I just cut it in half lengthwise so that I could fit it around here, because you can see it's not very broad. In some of these places, wide foam tape wouldn't have worked. It looks like I'm squishing my sequins, but I have to remember that the foam is just all the way around the edge. It's not right here under the sequins. So there you go. Very nice. I got one that's kind of at an angle here. Cute. Okay, now the next thing I have is I also use this stamp in the set. It has a stamp and its matching dot, coordinating die, and I am going to put that here. I just colored it to match what I had done on the front, and it's the floral pattern but like a heart, so very cute. Now I want to show you some options here. So I did these two. This one, as I said, was watercolor. I did it on mixed media paper. This one is Copic coloring. But if you are not much of a colorer, there are other options. This one, I had used watercolor pencils. These are the Inktense pencils. So you just color lightly a little bit, and with water on a brush, pull the color into the rest of the image. This one I'm going to show you, it's just scribbling with like fine point markers. They're really fine point. So from a distance, it doesn't look, you know, that scribbly. This one I had actually embossed in silver, and then I just took one of the blending brushes in ink and just kind of lightly went with blue over the floral areas and with green over the leaf areas. So it just, again, it gives you a soft, almost a chalky look to your work. It all depends on what your goal is and what kind of project you want. And you can see how pretty just the silver is on white. You could take silver on silver. You could use white on black, and you don't even have to even color these in, because it's just a very elegant, pretty image. So there are the two cards I've made. Thinking about, I love that I added a bow and the rickrack at the bottom of this one. So if I wanted to do that, I could do something like that as well. But I think that the black and white check here really brings some attention to, and it's very detailed and it's very busy. So I'm not sure that I really want to add any of that at this point on this card. And remember how I cut out the floral section? On this one, I glued that floral section in here. On this one, I made a whole nother card out of that. And if you're not really into super busy cards like this one, here's the center. I just put one band of that black checkerboard across the card, and there is that beautiful coloring right there. Perfect. Now I could even add the sentiment down here, and there's also stamps that can be used in here. Well, let's see what we can find. Okay, I want this one that says, "I'm so grateful for you." Now, this has not been stamped before, so I want to stamp it out a couple times in preparation. Always helps when you get a new stamp to don't stamp it immediately on your project. Oh, that's looking a lot better already. How sweet is that? Perfect. Thank you for watching. Make sure you take a look at this video up in this corner. I think you're going to like it.